What's up everybody, Matt Maran here for another My Week With video. So this week I've been driving the 2023 Toyota Corolla Cross Hybrid. And so as far as the hybrid version of the Corolla Cross, I really like it. It's definitely my favorite version of the Corolla Cross. It's just, a little more refined, I think. It's got more power and much better fuel economy, about a dozen more Mpg compared to a non-hybrid Corolla Cross all-wheel drive. And so I just am really enjoying my time with this whole week. I mean, it's just really the right size in a lot of ways. I love the smaller dimensions. It's not too small. You have plenty of space. I even have a forward-facing car seat here, and I still have plenty of space up front here to seat an adult comfortably. So I mean, it's really, I think, a perfect size if you don't want to go up to something that's a little larger like a RAV4 or something like that. This is still a really great option, and I just really like it a lot. And so as far as my fuel economy though, that's the main thing here about the hybrid I'm sure you're all interested in. And so during my week of driving here, I've put about 120 miles on it, and my average has been 42 mpg exactly, which is impressive because that lines up exactly with the combined Mpg rating of 42 for this vehicle. It's also rated 38 in the highway and then 45 if you're doing strictly city driving. My driving's mostly suburban, around town kind of driving, so I was expecting to get closer to that city rating than the highway rating, and so sure enough, I'm pretty much hitting the combined figure pretty perfectly. But I didn't do a 50-50 split. I did more city than highway, so I was still hoping maybe for a little more, but I'm so happy to get the combined figure. And 42 mpg and something like this is really impressive. And it's still just impressive that this is the only hybrid in the subcompact crossover segment, really. And so if you want good fuel economy, Corolla Cross Hybrid is it. That's your only choice here, really. I mean, all the others are okay, but they're all around the same kind of fuel economy as the regular Corolla Cross, doing mid-30s at best. And so it's just really great to have not only the extra fuel economy, but also the extra power. 196 horsepower in this thing, and it's really a nice upgrade over a regular Corolla Cross. Yes, it's more expensive than the regular Corolla Cross all-wheel drive, but it's not like you're paying just for better fuel economy. You're paying for the sportier look on the outside, the sport tune suspension, which I'll get more into in a minute here, but also the extra power, and it's a good bit of extra power. And now, the Corolla Cross, the regular one, felt a little pokey at times. All those complaints have been taken away. It really is plenty of power for 99% of driving, and even if you have it loaded up with your family, I mean, yes, it'll feel a little slower, but still plenty of power. And I think it's one of the better feeling crossovers in this segment as far as power goes now. But it wasn't all perfect during my week here with the Corolla Cross Hybrid. I do have a few little minor complaints, but as we're coming up some corners here, let's take it around my normal corners here, see how it handles. So it does handle itself really well. There's another thing I did really like about it is that, it actually, the limits are a little bit, lower than you would like, and I'd say it's still not the best handling crossover in this segment. I think that crown still goes to the Mazda CX-30, but it's, really good for this segment. Again, no one's going to be driving these like they're sports cars, so for the average person, it's going to be fine. But I will say that the sport tune suspension still has plenty of compliance to it. It's not like it's really that sporty feeling, to be totally honest. So, don't be scared off by that if you don't want a sporty ride. But if you are expecting something a little sportier because of the XSE kind of branding, it doesn't feel that much sportier as far as the suspension setup goes. Now, you do have the multi-link suspension in the rear there on the hybrids here. And, I mean, it still handles itself, totally fine, but just gonna say it's not as sporty as the sport tune suspension may have you believe. And another thing though that was a little bit of a disappointment is the all-wheel drive system here in my week with this vehicle. So I didn't get to experience it in any snow, but even in just a rain-covered road just yesterday, whenever I went to stomp on it, there was actually 2 times where the front wheel started spinning, and then it cut back the power, and then the all-wheel drive came in to help me out, or traction control came to help me out, whatever the case was. But it's not quite as good as a mechanical all-wheel drive system where that will kind of catch the slip a little earlier typically in other systems. This, there was still a little bit of delay there. It's not a huge deal, but just expect that if you are driving in very slippery conditions, you're still going to have a little bit of wheel spin. So even though it's all-wheel drive, it's not like it's going to be flawless with the traction, but it still is going to serve the purpose of what you need it to do, which is get up and going from a stop, whenever you're in slippery conditions. But beyond that, I wish it was a little quicker to react whenever it started catching that wheel spin there a little bit. But it still reined it in really nicely and still was totally fine. But yeah, I mean, that's really my only 2 little complaints here. A couple of little things I want to mention are that the JBL stereo is actually better than I expected. So it's a 9-speaker stereo, and usually these JBL stereos and other Toyotas have never really wowed me. They've never been that impressive, to be honest. But this one, for some reason, just sounded better than they usually do. I have no clue why. The settings were all the same and everything, but in this vehicle with this upgraded stereo, it actually sounds really good. The bass is fantastic for this segment. It's still no Mazda CX-30. That still is also the king as far as having its awesome Bose stereo and the upper trims of that. But I just gotta say, I'm actually pretty impressed with the stereo here, and I haven't said that in the past about the JBL stereo. So I wanted to note that in this car, at least this week, this one sounded really good. So take that for what it's worth. But really the last thing to mention here is the pricing and how it compares to one of the competitors. So there's really no straight on competitors because, again, no one else offers a hybrid in this segment. But what I can say is that if you are someone, especially someone who likes Toyotas, and you might be, you know, tempted by a RAV4, a RAV4 Hybrid XSE is roughly about $3,000 more. Now, the option equipment might not be exactly identical, but you can get the same grade with, I believe, basically the same features for only $3 grand more in a RAV4. Now, again, I really like the size of the Corolla Cross. You know, I think that depending on your situation, it might be the better fit for you. But as far as just how much stuff and how much space you get per dollar, it may make sense to just spend the extra $3 grand and go up to a RAV4, because this one as tested here is about $35,500. XSEs start around $31, but then this one has the moonroof, the JBL, and adaptive headlights, and a power closing rear hatch, and all those things drive up the price by a few $1,000s. So you can still get a nice XSE for well under that if you're okay with, you know, nixing some of those features. I also got to do some more highway driving here this week in the Corolla Cross Hybrid, and I also have to say the lane keep assist system is really good in this vehicle. It was really confident with its steering assist. Now it's still a hands-on system, but I was able to, you know, kind of relax and let it kind of give me that assistance, and it was doing it really reliably. So it was one of the better systems out there that I've experienced, you know, and especially some of the older Toyotas weren't as great with their lane trace assist. This one, though, and this newest system is really good at really keeping you in the lanes very well and communicating what it's doing, and just overall being a really nice driver assistance feature. But anyway, that's all of my thoughts here on the Corolla Cross Hybrid and my week with it. If you have any follow-up questions, though, please leave them in the comments below. I'll be happy to answer them. Please also leave a like and subscribe to keep these videos coming. Yeah, thank you all very much for watching. Thanks to Toyota for providing me with this vehicle to spend a week with, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.